Hi, my name is Lisa Dowling, and I'm a Natural Resource Specialist with the Chelan County Natural Resource Department. This video will highlight partner projects, landowner programs, and ongoing salmon recovery efforts in the Lower Wenatchee main stem. The mission statement of the Upper Columbia Salmon Recovery Board really speaks to the collaborative nature of salmon recovery, wherein each subbasin represents a diverse group of stakeholders that are engaged and united in the effort to restore salmon habitat and recover these at-risk species. All listed species of salmonids rely on the Lower Wenatchee for cover, food, and the cooler water that comes from side channel habitats. This reach is a major spawning area for steelhead and rearing area for spring chinook and bull trout. Habitat restoration in the Lower Wenatchee takes on a variety of forms, ranging from fish barrier corrections to debris removal to in-stream and riparian habitat improvements. Today, we will share with you some of the ongoing projects occurring in this subbasin. The Chelan County Natural Resource Department has been planning and implementing in-stream riparian restoration projects in the Wenatchee River and its tributaries for many years by relying on the best available science and leveraging partner resources. These projects often include a combination of installing a variety of habitat features to promote in-stream complexity and planting native riparian species that over time will provide shade and bank stability. While the benefits to fish are near immediate, the ecosystem benefits will continue to grow over time. The idea being that if we can design projects that enhance and restore natural ecosystem processes, we can let the river take over and do the work of naturally protecting, creating, and preserving habitat for salmon into the future. These drone images show how projects change the riverscape by connecting the floodplain, restoring riparian habitat vegetation, and creating off-channel habitats that provide peak flow refuge for salmonids. Our staff continues to visit these sites on an annual basis to monitor and assess the ecosystem benefits of these projects over time, and when needed, apply adaptive management actions that boost their long-term success. Side channel habitats in the Lower Wenatchee have been degraded over recent decades, limiting the survival and production of salmonids. Side channels provide thermal refuge and important summer and winter juvenile rearing habitat for spring chinook and steelhead. The Monitor side channel is just west of Monitor and was originally maintained to supply irrigation water until it was decommissioned in 2013. This channel does not provide habitat currently, but given its stable connection to the Wenatchee River, its restoration potential is high. This project is designed to improve summer and winter juvenile rearing habitat conditions for these 4 target fish species, and it also will serve as overwintering habitat for all life stages of salmonids and refuge during peak flows. In addition to our habitat improvement goals, we aim to enhance the riparian ecosystem holistically by improving the riparian plant community condition and reducing in-stream flows in high summer temperatures and enhancing floodplain connectivity. To achieve these goals, we will be installing a variety of habitat features, including several different types of enhanced log jams and boulder clusters that are designed to increase in-stream complexity and create scour pools that will serve as refuge during peak flows. Following construction, we will plant a variety of native riparian trees and shrubs to provide shade and reduce erosion. This project will improve and protect this sensitive and limiting habitat type that is critical for successful salmonid life cycles in the Wenatchee River. Over the past century, land development, construction, and agricultural production have transformed the landscape of the Lower Wenatchee. These activities have left behind debris that can impede the river's natural processes and create a trashy appearance for river recreationists. Over recent years, our staff have worked with the City of Cashmere and others to remove large debris and restore the banks of the Lower Wenatchee River, which represents an ongoing community-led effort to address these issues and keep our river clean. This year, our staff worked with the City of Cashmere to remove an old electrical transformer that was embedded in the gravel bar near the Cashmere boat launch. Efforts such as these really enhance habitat for fish and wildlife and recreational experiences. The Wenatchee River is a critical part of our community, and we rely on local landowners and citizens to help us identify riparian restoration opportunities in areas that are in need of trash and debris removal. Please reach out to us via phone or email with any leads, and together we can support salmon recovery efforts and keep our river healthy and clean. Chelan County opted into the Voluntary Stewardship Program, or VSP, with the goal of promoting plans that protect critical areas while reducing the threat of farmland conversion to other land uses and improving the long-term viability of agriculture. VSP is allowed under the Growth Management Act as an alternative to traditional approaches to critical area protection. This is a non-regulatory, optional program that relies on incentive-based approach to protecting critical areas and sustainable agriculture. Critical areas are areas that are fragile in nature or have the potential to become hazardous. In Chelan County, these include fish and wildlife conservation areas, wetlands, critical aquifer recharge areas, and geologic and flood hazard zones. VSP helps to foster partnerships that support agricultural practices that are compatible with ecosystem stewardship. Agriculture and tourism are the primary economic forces in Chelan County, and both are dependent upon properly functioning ecosystems. But it boils down to a lot more than just economic drivers. At the heart of our communities is a culture that is centered around farm-to-table lifestyles and neighbors that come together to support each other and the land. VSP aims to protect the sensitive ecosystems that support the rural farming communities that define Chelan County. This year, VSP launched its new Irrigation Improvement Program that aims to promote agricultural viability while conserving soil, water, and energy resources. Through this program, agricultural producers in Chelan County can receive financial and technical assistance to upgrade their irrigation system to one that is tailored to meet the unique needs of their operation. Projects under $5,000 can be fully funded through this program without any contribution from landowners. Hannah and I are the primary contacts for VSP at the Chelan County Natural Resource Department. Please contact us today or visit our website to learn more about how VSP can benefit your operation and protect the critical areas in Chelan County.
Hi, my name is Kurt Soper, and I'm the Executive Director of the Chelan Douglas Land Trust. The Land Trust is a member-driven, nonprofit organization that works to conserve, care for, and deliver public access to the lands and waters that makes North Central Washington so special. For the last few years, we've been working to acquire conservation easements and develop access to the public for hiking on 10 miles of what's called the Cashmere Canyons Preserve. And in 2020, we made significant progress. We got off to a slow start due to the COVID-19 restrictions, and we're not able to start construction as expected. But fortunately, in late May, this was ruled as essential construction. We were able to get going. So in this picture taken, maybe a month or so ago, you can see that a trailhead is being constructed and developed. It is almost complete here by the end of the year. We expect the preserve to be open to the public in 2021 for hiking. 10 additional miles of wonderful trails with great views. And one of the highlights will be that it should extend our wildflower season by about a month, because this is a higher elevation area. About 2 miles up from the confluence of the Wenatchee River and the Columbia River is the Land Trust Lower Sleepy Hollow Preserve. This was an acquisition that was made about 3 years ago with the help of some salmon recovery funding from state and local sources. And in 2020, we've undergone a major restoration effort at the Lower Sleepy Hollow Preserve, and this includes largely restoring old former pasture lands back to riparian forest. Doing this in preparation of opening the site to the public maybe a year or two down the road. Great progress this year. Thousands of plantings were put in and watered, and they survived the summer very well. and should be able to survive on their own now going forward. We do all this to bring our salmon, our native salmon, back to this habitat and throughout the basin. Another focus for the Land Trust in 2020 has been working with our Wenatchee tribal members to go out on our preserved lands, on lands we're considering for conservation, and to learn from them about Native American uses of these properties. For centuries, of course, they manage these lands in a very sustainable and responsible way. We have a lot to learn. We learned a lot in 2020, have learned some lessons that we'll be applying to our future management, and look forward to continuing this great working relationship.
Salmon are deeply integrated into the culture, ecology, and economy of our region. However, populations in the Columbia River Basin have been declining for over 100 years, with spring chinook, steelhead, and bull trout at risk of extinction. Overfishing, dam construction, habitat degradation, a changing climate, and a reliance on hatcheries have all contributed. Human actions have led to these declines, and human actions are needed to ensure fish thrive for generations to come. Cascade Fisheries is a nonprofit organization, one of 14 regional fisheries enhancement groups across the state, created by the legislature to support fish recovery on a local level. Our work covers the Wenatchee, Eniat, Methow, and Okanagan basins, and over the past 20 years, we've improved habitat, inspired wonder, and empowered our communities through education, engagement, and stewardship. Our staff, board, and volunteer network are grounded in our communities, and collaborations with landowners and partner organizations allow us to work to restore our watersheds, one project at a time.
There's a lot to learn from rivers, and our work is informed by studying the history and current conditions of our watersheds. Time out in the field surveying and exploring is critical to the development of effective restoration projects. Assessments identify problems and help us understand the factors limiting fish recovery. From our experience on rivers and the technical data we collect, we identify new projects and develop restoration concepts. Monitoring happens on the other end of a project to ensure that goals were met. Following our projects as they evolve over time informs adaptive management and future restoration actions. Our work is science-based and dependent on understanding our river neighborhoods.
Our mantra at Cascade Fisheries is helping people help fish. We provide technical assistance and secure funding for river restoration on private and public property. We focus on 3 primary restoration actions: fish barrier correction, improving river and floodplain habitat quality, and planting streamside vegetation. A passage barrier is a structure that impedes the movement of fish, such as culverts, dams, and irrigation diversions. These structures also limit the downstream flow of water, wood, and sediment, and are high risk for flood damage. We replace undersized culverts with larger culverts or bridges, opening up habitat, reducing flood damage, and improving landowner infrastructure. Our fish passage barrier assessments have led us to identify 900 barriers and counting. Habitat enhancement work focuses on restoring rivers to better support all life stages and species of native fish. Placed wood jams and boulders create pools and provide refuge from predators and high flows. Reconnected side channels and floodplains allow fish access to more shelter and food. These projects range from very small, where wood structures are installed by hand, to very large, requiring extensive design, permitting, and earth moving. Streamside vegetation is critical to stream health. Trees and shrubs provide shade that keeps water cool, nutrients from leaves and insects, and shelter when trees fall into the river. We partner with landowners to plant streamside vegetation, providing benefits to the river and protecting banks from erosion.
An informed, engaged, and supportive community is critical for the continued progress recovering endangered fish. We offer free outreach events and school programs throughout the region, raising awareness of the threats to native fishes and linking people with their role in salmon recovery. Our students grow their science skills raising salmon in schools, collecting watershed health data, and meeting their fish neighbors while river snorkeling. Our volunteers connect with their local streams by planting trees, monitoring habitat quality, and contributing their experience and cultural perspective to restoration. Our communities become equipped with the knowledge to take actions that benefit fish and watersheds through educational film screenings, speaker events, and visits to local projects. At Cascade Fisheries, we work to share our love of native fish and empower our neighbors to get involved to ensure salmon and steelhead continue their important roles in our culture, economy, and communities. Our work to recover local fish populations would not be possible without you. Whether you're a streamside landowner, an enthusiastic volunteer, or a supportive community member, we need your help. Reach out to us to visit your streamside property, volunteer your time on a project, or donate. From all of us here at Cascade Fisheries, thank you.
Hello, I'm Jeff Osborne with Chelan PUD. I work to ensure we meet the terms of our federal licenses to operate our Lake Chelan, Rocky Reach, and Rock Island hydropower projects here in north central Washington. I'm here today to provide an update on the Horan Natural Area. The Horan Natural Area in the south section of Wenatchee Confluence State Park is a community treasure that's owned by Chelan PUD and managed by Washington State Parks. In late 2019, we reached out to the community through meetings and surveys to hear how people use the area, what things are important to them, and how to preserve this natural area for future generations. Our outreach revealed that people value the Horan area for its wildlife, plants and habitats, natural beauty, tribal and local history, and the quiet sanctuary it provides close to an urban community. The area supports a wide variety of fish and wildlife, including deer, raccoon, coyote, songbirds, snakes, skunks, and even a moose. The area is used for a wide variety of recreation, including bird walks, educational tours, and by walkers and runners. It's also connected to the Apple Capitol Loop Trail system. The responses we heard during our outreach highlighted that the public is highly invested in efforts that will be taken to maintain and enhance the area in the future. The City of Wenatchee is proposing returning treated stormwater to the Horan Natural Area beginning in 2025. In addition, as part of our upcoming federal relicensing of the Rock Island Dam, Chelan PUD approved developing a conceptual site plan for the area to consider several things: how reintroduced water would come into, move through, and exit the area, whether the existing ponds should be modified to encourage use by birds and wildlife, trail and bird viewing improvements, a potential water trail system to be used by non-motorized watercraft, recreational enhancements, and protection of cultural resources. The local Audubon Society proposed developing the plan, but broader stakeholder input will be sought. This is one of 4 proposals accepted by the Chelan PUD Board to conduct studies upriver from the Rock Island Dam to provide recreational and environmental enhancements as part of early action for the next federal license. As part of an effort to acquire a new federal license to operate Rock Island Dam, an effort known as relicensing, Chelan PUD expects to develop a management plan for the Horan area to support plants, wildlife, and recreation, protect cultural resources, and continue to sustain this ecosystem for our customer owners throughout the county. Relicensing begins next year and is planned to continue through 2028. Chelan PUD is looking for broad public input on the draft conceptual plan, expected to be completed at the end of this year. If you are interested in reviewing that draft document, please send an email to rirelicensing@chelanpud.org and you'll be added to our mailing list.
Hi, Hi, I'm Cody Joe with Trout Unlimited. I'm the Beaver-Powered Restoration Program Manager. You might already know that beavers play an important role in the health of our local streams. They're often called nature's ecosystem engineer. But did you know that state wildlife agencies once parachuted beavers from airplanes in the name of habitat restoration? As far back as 1935, beavers were trapped in the Wenatchee Valley and released in Mission Creek for water storage purposes. Beavers are commonly thought of as a nuisance by landowners, but their infrastructure provides important ecosystem benefits. Beaver dams store water so that we have flow later into our summers. They actually cool this water by creating deep pools and storing water in the soil. They increase the diversity of our stream habitats and ultimately benefit our important local salmonid species. In 2018, Trout Unlimited and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service partnered to develop a beaver project in Chelan and Douglas counties. And while we aren't dropping beavers out of airplanes to harness these dam benefits, we are working towards the same outcomes today as they were in 1935. The goal of the Wenatchee-Iniat Beaver Project is to reestablish beavers in tributaries in the Wenatchee River Basin for habitat enhancement, flow augmentation, and storage in order to reduce climate-related impacts. The Beaver Project offers landowner assistance through mitigation techniques, and when those are unsuccessful, beaver relocations. Using non-lethal beaver trapping, we relocate beavers upstream in the watershed, generally on national forest lands, where their ecosystem benefits can be fully realized. We have relocated beavers to areas such as Deep Creek, Minnow Creek, and the White River. In the first 3 years of the project, we have assisted over 30 landowners and relocated over 25 beavers. The Beaver Project also works on private and public lands to build beaver dam analogs, or human-made beaver dams. These analogs allow us to kickstart stream restoration through low-cost, low-impact techniques to harness many of the same benefits of beaver dams. The analogs will begin storing water in the first year, and the hope is that beavers will move in to help maintain the dams for years to come. The project has built 50 beaver dam analogs in our first 3 years. Lastly, the Beaver Project is passionate about engaging the local community in our work. You can often find us at local outreach events. You can even visit our beavers at the Leavenworth Fish Hatchery during the summer months. And you can volunteer for many of the aspects of our work. Projects all over the country are harnessing the powers of these extremely helpful animals. And now that we have established a strong project in our valley, we need your help. Do you have beavers on your property chewing trees or plugging irrigation ditches? Or perhaps you would like beavers returned to a stream or a pond on your property. Do you simply just love these charismatic animals and want to volunteer for the Beaver Project? Please reach out. We want to hear from you. We want to work with you to find the best solutions for both you and the beavers in our valley. The heart of Trout Unlimited's work is engaging local landowners and community members in projects that will have lasting beneficial impacts. Whether that's working with students through our Salmon in the Classroom program, sharing the healing and restorative power of our rivers and streams with our veterans and children, teaching at the Leavenworth Hatchery Salmon Festival, or joining partners in plantings along stream beds. The cornerstone of TU's work in Central Washington is reconnecting historic habitat, improving and modernizing irrigation infrastructure, and ensuring Wenatchee's agricultural base remains strong. Projects in Icicle Creek, Eagle Creek, Chumstick, and the Wenatchee River have helped save water and improve fish passage. We have seen impressive results with salmon, steelhead, and trout easily finding their way to this habitat. TU engages the community through hands-on opportunities. We love working alongside interested community members and businesses on our local habitat projects. Many of these projects involve local schools, where we give students the chance to look at the diversity of the river system and the important role water plays in our valley. Working with local irrigation districts has enabled us to think big, and we are so appreciative of these partnerships. For example, thanks to the Pioneer Water Users Association, the Wenatchee River has seen significant increases in in-stream flow. This project allowed the Pioneer Water Users Association to use less water and led to increased water supply for the city of Wenatchee. While all of TU's water and habitat restoration work is important, none of it happens without collaboration. Working with partners like Cascadia Conservation District and Cascade Fisheries on projects that increase habitat and efficiencies in water use is key to ensuring sustainable water supplies for the future. Through these partnerships, 14 acres of the Peshastin Mill property remained in public ownership. It was an amazing joining of diverse interest groups, including those that fish and recreate in the county. Residents and visitors of the Wenatchee River Valley have a place to fish, hike, and simply enjoy all the Wenatchee River Basin has to offer. TU strives to conserve, protect, and restore Washington's world-class cold water fisheries and their watersheds. We look forward to working alongside you in the future to accomplish this goal.
Hi, I'm Amanda Newell, Education and Outreach Specialist for Cascadia Conservation District. Cascadia Conservation District is a non-regulatory organization dedicated to encouraging the wise stewardship and conservation of all natural resources in Chelan County. Our board and staff members work cooperatively with local landowners and communities to provide technical and financial assistance for soil, water, forest, fish, and wildlife conservation efforts. We serve our community through a wide variety of programs we will discuss in the coming slides. Here's Patrick to get us started.
Hi, my name is Patrick Haggerty, and I'm the Forestry Program Manager at Cascadia Conservation District. Our staff members work with landowners to develop stewardship plans for their property and provide technical assistance to manage natural resources on their land. We offer soil tests and soil management plans, as well as programs to install riparian buffers and fence livestock out of streams to improve stream water quality and quantity. We annually host a Native Planting 101 workshop to help landowners be successful with their planting projects. The workshop is free and it covers planting techniques, weed management, pollinators, and more. Our staff provides technical assistance for irrigation management plans based on individual landowner needs. We offer cost-share programs for irrigation upgrades, including moisture probes, efficient sprinkler heads, and more to reduce water use while improving product.
Cascadia has partnered with Salmon Safe since 2019 and has successfully certified 600 acres in Chelan County, including apples, cherries, berries, vegetables, herbs, and flowers. Salmon Safe is an eco-label environmental certification that works to recognize farms that are being good natural resource stewards by reducing sedimentation, using water efficiently, and practicing integrated pest management to avoid using harmful chemicals. For some growers, the benefit is that their products are recognized on the market as certified salmon safe, prompting customers, restaurants, and grocery stores eager to support such efforts to buy their products. For other farmers, it's the satisfaction they get from knowing and showing that they are contributing to a healthy watershed. Cascadia supports farms by answering questions, gathering documentation to prepare for the Salmon Safe assessor, covering the assessment fee, and providing marketing support. Cascadia offers free resources to improve backyard gardens and lawns through workshops, soil tests, and site visits. We also have a series of educational materials available on topics such as lawn watering and maintenance with water conservation in mind, composting, including compact composting, container gardening, installing raised garden beds, and more. Cascadia staff teach the importance of farming and gardening to the next generation through hands-on activities with students during after-school gardening programs. Students learn about different types of seeds, fruits, vegetables, soil, watering, and more, and then plant their own school garden. They learn how to tend the garden and then harvest and enjoy the fresh produce with fun recipes Cascadia staff provide.
Wildfire is a fact of life in north central Washington. Although fire is an important part of our natural ecosystem, the effects of wildfire can be devastating to property owners, infrastructure, human life, and local economies. It is important for residents of fire-prone areas like Chelan County, to acknowledge the dangers around them and take appropriate actions to protect themselves and their community before wildfire starts. Cascadia offers fuel reduction cost share programs where landowners receive financial and technical assistance to make their land healthier and more resilient to wildfires. We also offer free roving chipper programs to allow landowners to create defensible space around their homes to help reduce the risk of wildfire damage. Areas burned by a wildfire have the risk of increased erosion, flooding, adding sediment to water bodies, and other natural resource concerns. These issues can cause damage to property and issues for fish and wildlife. We offer fire recovery programs to landowners impacted by fires. Our staff also works with local, state, and federal land managers on large-scale restoration projects that span private and public lands.
Education and outreach is critical to the success of every program we participate in. Educational programming and outreach materials demonstrate how natural environments function, how our activities impact those environments, and how we can best mitigate those impacts. Our Kids in the Creek program is hands-on education that gets high school students into the outdoors to learn how streams and watersheds function. The Kids in the Forest program gets 3rd through 8th graders into the woods to learn about forest health, ecology, and fire. This year's virtual Wheat Week program for 5th grade provides resources for students to grow wheat at home, explore soil, investigate the water cycle, and learn about wheat DNA. During local after-school programs, we host Zoom presentations from around the watershed and provide students with science toolkits to explore with their families. Learn more about all of our programs at cascadiacd.org or by calling 509-436-1601. We are also on Facebook. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Patrick Haggerty. I'm the Forestry Program Manager for Cascadia Conservation District, and I co-chair the Outreach Committee for the North Central Washington Forest Health Collaborative.
Hi, I'm Amanda Newell with Cascadia Conservation District and the co-chair of the North Central Washington Forest Health Collaborative Outreach Committee.
The North Central Washington Forest Health Collaborative is made up of a diverse group of interests, including timber industry, conservation organizations, community groups, tribal government, elected officials, and local, state, and federal land managers.
The collaborative works to advance forest health through transparent and science-based actions that improve forest resiliency, preserve terrestrial and aquatic wildlife habitat, protect natural resources, promote utilization of natural resources, and support local economies. Okanagan-Wenatchee National Forest makes up nearly 80% of the land base of Chelan County. We use a consensus-based approach to build trust, overcome barriers, and to build the momentum required to increase the pace and scale of forest restoration in Okanagan and Chelan counties.
This includes substantially increasing the forest's restoration footprint, reaching across boundaries through collaborative efforts, developing better integration across disciplines, adapting to changing conditions, and working to include the voice of local citizens in the management of our public lands. So why forest health? Scientific studies have shown the Okanagan-Wenatchee National Forest is experiencing uncharacteristically severe fires, insect infestations, disease epidemics, and habitat loss due to multiple factors, one of which is exclusion of fire from these landscapes for over 100 years.
Active landscape scale restoration is necessary for forest sustainability and resiliency. Thinning trees, using prescribed fire, and managing wildfire are just a few of the restoration tools essential for stewarding resilient forest landscapes in north central Washington.
You can see the contrast from pre-treatment, which is overstocked, unhealthy forests that pose increased fire hazard, to post-treatment, which renewed understory through thinning and removal of slash.
The North Central Washington Forest Health Collaborative work groups and task forces take deep dives into the barriers that are slowing restoration work down, and provide recommendations to the group and the Forest Service for overcoming challenges. The collaborative has been successful partnering with the Forest Service to overcome policy and planning challenges and has played a critical role in bringing new funding to the area to implement projects. Currently, our work groups are engaged in projects to provide diverse stakeholder input to the forest and to build stakeholder consensus around social, ecological, and economic elements.
One example of this is the Upper Wenatchee pilot project. The Forest Service has millions of acres to manage in our region with limited funding to keep trailheads open, roads maintained, and complete restoration work. The collaborative secured over $1 million in 2017 to hire contractors to complete environmental analysis on over 75,000 acres near Lake Wenatchee. An analysis which is nearing completion and will be available for public comments on their website within the next month.
Our work groups are also working to increase support for implementation, monitoring, and/or adjusting to changed conditions. We are also conducting targeted outreach and education to increase knowledge about the need for restoration in the region in coordination with community partners. Learn more about our efforts at ncwfhc.org. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Pete Tagan, Lead Entity Coordinator for Upper Columbia Salmon Recovery Board, or UCSRB. UCSRB is the regional recovery board in charge of implementing the recovery plan for federally listed Upper Columbia spring chinook, steelhead, and bull trout. We are one of 8 recovery organizations in Washington state. We bring together and support project partners in the Upper Columbia working on recovery efforts. Our board is comprised of 1 commissioner from Douglas, Okanagan, and Chelan counties, and representatives from the Yakima Nation and Colville Confederated Tribes. When salmon were listed in the late 1990s, people in Washington wanted to ensure local support for habitat restoration projects, so the legislature developed the Washington Way. The Washington Way allows community members to help allocate funds to projects that improve habitat condition while also ensuring community support. This is why the UCSRB is comprised of 3 counties, but also why we have the Chelan County Citizens Advisory Committee, or CAC. UCSRB coordinates the Chelan CAC, which is comprised of 7 community members representing counties, cities, conservation districts, tribes, environmental groups, business interests, landowners, volunteer groups, agriculture, or other habitat interests. Each year, the CAC evaluates and ranks habitat restoration projects, then allocates funding to support those projects. The criteria they use include benefit to fish, project longevity, scope, economics, and community support. This approach ensures that local communities have a voice in recovery efforts. To learn more about salmon recovery or the CAC, please visit ucsrb.org. Thank you.